rodeo, reg, back end, PR.
Do we want to ask anyone on the call or maybe in the general board meeting about 2024 finals, or do we not have the right people for that discussion tonight?
No, I think we do have the right people.
Okay.
I think we can bring that up in the executive committee also, because I know there's discussion about that. 2025 sort of being, we've got some plans for 2025, but we don't seem to have any plans for 2024.
Right.
And 2023 is a little shaky right now anyway, too. So I think we can bring that up in the, Ron Tressley is going to take the lead in doing some planning for 2024. And my thinking is that we should go ahead with, continuing to plan 2025. And then also get to planning 2024. 2025 is going to take a lot more planning because it's it should be a bigger.
Yeah, a bigger
event.
shindig.
We need to get started on that now. And since we have, Roger Bergman is taking the lead on getting the planning on that. And he's got all the information on the arena up there and.
Yeah, the hotel, the arena.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like they fell into a real good hotel opportunity for us for that as well. So.
Yeah, and I think we can make it better for 2025 World Gay Rodeo Finals. And I think we'll know that once we get up there this year in 2023, meet the people and say, hey, listen, if you want us to come back, we need a better deal on the hotel.
Yeah, yeah. That's one of the things I remember Craig Rouse teaching at university was about negotiating your contract, whether it be arena or hotel or whatever. And I remember one thing he said, I just about fell out of my chair, but he says, don't hesitate to get up and walk out. And people, we can't do that. He said, sure you can. And he said, when you walk out, he said, you will get a phone call and they will offer you a better deal if you don't have a reasonable deal to start with. But there was more to it than that. But it was interesting. And Ron knows how to do that as well. He's good at negotiating with hotels and stuff. So 2024 will be in good hands as well. Yes. Quick question for Frank. Frank, I think I left you a voicemail day before yesterday, but I wasn't sure it went through. But anyway, can we create a archive folder on the server, but it not show up on the web page? Okay, I will get with you and we'll have a discussion on that. I've gone through the website and I've identified forms that need to be archived. I'm proposing to the board that we not delete any exhibits or forms, but ones that are no longer used or out of date or not applicable for the time being, instead of deleting them, that we put them in an archive folder where we can retrieve them instead of having to recreate the wheel from scratch. So, okay, all right. So I'll probably schedule time with you either tomorrow or Friday if you're available either of those 2 days. Okay, thank you. See if I can see participants. Yes, I'm here. Uh-huh. Okay. I was gonna say archive, but um, yeah, yeah. Um, um, yeah, yeah, I'm good with that. Yeah. And I'm working my way through the exhibits to see which one of those are still valid. Um, I told Brian earlier I was stunned to find we have stuff in three places. We have stuff that's in the bylaws. The same stuff is in the forms section, and it's also in the exhibit area as well. And so we may update the bylaws, but the PR spokesman that's sitting in exhibits and forms, wouldn't get updated, so we could have obsolete data. So I'm identifying the duplicates and as well as the things that are not currently used, so we can um, put still have them, but just not clutter um, the main site. Yeah. Okay, we can just focus on our call tonight for now. We can come back to this. This is not a priority tonight. Hi, Judy.
How are you?
Good, good. Okay, thank you. Okay, perfect.
Hello, Judy. Good to
Hi,
see
how are you?
Good to see your
Thank you.
name.
Good. Yeah. Let me just see here. There we go.
Judy, you've got a little bit of a echo. Do you have two devices going?
And she's got a real bright light outside, it looks like, turned on.
It's sunny and beautiful.
Well, it's dark here.
So am I still echoing?
No, not now.
Okay.
There's a Michael. I don't think it's me showing up on the participants list. Who's this Michael person? It would be helpful if we used our first and last name when we're doing Zoom calls. When you have 3 Davids and a couple of Michaels and
Oh, thank you, Frank.
Michael is Michael Butts. By the way, I see his
This
face.
is Carl. I just logged in.
okay. Did someone say Michael? The 720 is Michael Butts.
No,
The
the other Michael.
720 is Carl.
Oh, okay. So we
Can
don't
you hear me?
Yeah. I hear you.
All right.
We don't have Mark yet or Mipsy.
I didn't realize your time. Y'all don't shift time like we do here in Colorado.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's very confusing. I think one thing we'll want to do is just standardize all of our meetings to Central Standard Time and let the chips fall where they may.
I agree.
Thanks, Brent. We'll figure that out and I'll let you know.
By the way, I wanted to ask, I've got two of the shoot coordinators that have, completed their stuff. And I'm working on the seminar aspect of it for them. But do they take the same test that we all took?
That's a guy question.
No,
Okay, I'll
Tim-
double check it.
Tim is supposed to get with you. He sent me a written test for the shoot coordinator, and I created it. I turned it into an electronic test, so it's written. But Tim was supposed to reach out to you about that for Nicole.
They have not reached out to me for the two people that have qualified for shoot coordinator, but I am doing their seminar.
Okay. If Tim hasn't reached out to you, then reach out to Tim.
Reach out to who?
Tim
Tim
Smith.
Smith.
Tim Smith. I'll do it.
Well, listen, everybody, it's 7 o'clock in Phoenix time, I guess, or I don't know what time it is. I'm in New Mexico, so
8 o'clock in Denver.
it's 8 o'clock here, 7 o'clock in Phoenix, I guess. This is the, I'd like to call the executive board meeting to order. Welcome guests. You're welcome to listen to the proceedings today. The executive board is just meeting today casually to prepare for the special board meeting that we're about to have in about 30 minutes. So just some general discussion. The reason I called the special board meeting is so that we could consider adding 2 virtual meetings to our slate of in-person meetings and make them regular meetings so that we didn't have to go through the rigmarole, or not the rigmarole, but all the stuff of calling a special meeting and all of that stuff. We could have a regularly scheduled in-person meetings and 2 regularly scheduled virtual meetings. Obviously, the one today would be a special meeting, and we'll schedule one for the remainder of the year. What are your thoughts on this?
Brian, I just have a comment on it. If we are going to have a special meeting, we need to have an agenda out with it. Where a regular scheduled meeting, we can deviate a little bit up from the agenda. A special meeting, we cannot. And right now, we don't even have an agenda. So, I mean, technically what we're doing is out of order by the Robert's rules. But, I mean, we're here, I get that. I'm just saying for the future reference that that's understood. We have to have that.
The executive board is regularly scheduled at the last Wednesday of every month.
Yeah.
What
So-
we're doing right now is not special.
Wait,
And for the meeting tonight, there were a couple of items listed for the agenda. One, for the board meeting tonight, we said we would update the board of directors on the action that the executive board took in the last meeting, setting the convention delegate registration fee the nomination and voting process for our annual awards, so forth. That was in the email that was sent out for the meeting for tonight. And then talking about adding the 2 additional meetings that Brian just talked about. That's the agenda for the board meeting.
Okay, I did see that email, so
Yeah.
I didn't realize that that was the agenda of the meeting.
Yeah, this one is very short. And Brian, I have taken roll call for the executive board meeting based on who is on the call.
Yeah, so Sammy, you're correct. The only thing we're going to do on the special board meeting today is to discuss adding the virtual meeting. And we'll report on a couple of actions of the executive meeting. One being the determination of the delegate fee for convention. Does that make sense?
Yes, even this one, and I guess pork chop. I agree with what you've just said, with the exception of this is not we're not in a special meeting right now as this executive board, because that was scheduled, this was scheduled at convention, or?
No, the last meeting we had, I made a motion that the last Wednesday of every month would be an executive board meeting.
Okay, you're right, okay.
Correct.
So we just tacked on the special board of directors meeting to follow this meeting today.
Okay,
And there's only 2 items and they've been posted as the agenda items for the special meeting. And you're correct, Sammy. But there you go. Any other questions? Good.
No, I just wanted to make sure we didn't run into this again, and that's why I was putting it out there.
Does anybody good with a calendar that could look at a calendar?
I've got a calendar in front of me for the whole year.
Michael, do you see a potential date for a virtual meeting, regularly scheduled virtual meeting in the last half of the year?
September is not a problem. I don't know if you probably want to stay away from the last weekend of October because of finals, or would middle of the week still be okay that week in October?
What about September 27th?
The only thing we have on the calendar is Vegas, and that's the weekend of the 15th. So the 27th should be okay.
So if we were to suggest that our one virtual remaining meeting for this year would be September 27th at 8 p.m. Central. How does that work for everybody?
Good for me.
Guy, what are your thoughts in terms of positioning?
Me?
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with it. The only people who might have a problem with it are people in the Eastern time zone.
Okay, so
Brian, I'm sorry, what was the date?
September 27th at 7 p.m. Central?
That would be 8 p.m. Eastern, and that would be 6 p.m. Mountain Time.
Yeah, that would probably be better.
That would be better. I agree.
But then it would be like 5 p.m. for Kevin and David on the West Coast.
Kevin's retired, I'm retired, Ron's retired. Oh, Ron's not a trustee, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so we'll suggest that to the board as our add-on for this year, and then at convention, we'll set the agenda for our 4 meetings plus our 2 virtual meetings.
What was the time again? Central? What time
7 p.m.
Central?
Central.
Thank you. Okay.
Judy, y'all are the same time as Colorado, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
So I just want to give a brief update to the executive board on the status of the registration process. Alexander Sates, I made him chair of that particular committee. He's attended 2 or 3 of the sessions with Robin and his team, and hopefully within a week or so, we'll have a full demonstration that we'll be able to provide. And perhaps, I'm not sure yet, but perhaps have some selected users use it for Salt Lake Rodeo and kind of have a little sandbox to play in. So
Salt Lake is open for registration right now, I believe, isn't it?
it is.
So do you want to do registration 2 different ways?
No, I wasn't suggesting that we do it 2 different ways, Michael. I'll know a little more on Friday at the meeting with Robin and his team.
Okay.
What I was going to suggest is that we, use the current system to continue with Salt Lake, but perhaps maybe the next rodeo, or we'll see, have some selected contestants like myself, maybe Sammy, Chuck Browning, Raina Norris, people that we know that can use the new system in sort of a beta testing mode and see how things work on that sort of test mode. See if it gets us to where we need to be. So I'll keep you posted on that. I won't know anything more until Friday coming up. They have a meeting every Friday morning on it.
Our next rodeo after Salt Lake would be Denver, so that could be a good timing. I don't know. But yeah. Okay.
Very good. Anything else from any of the executive board that we need to bring up at this time?
Not from Carl.
Michael and David, I'm sorry, Michael and Guy, have we straightened out the certified officials forms? I know that I did see some communication, Guy. Thank you for that. I saw some communication from you too, Michael.
Yeah. He sent them I got them this afternoon, so I haven't opened them up and looked at them and printed them to see how they print out, but I got that today from Pork Chop. So we should have those on the site tomorrow or Friday, if everything goes well.
Okay, well, very good. Guy, thank you for taking that project on and cleaning up those forms for us. I think it's a great thing. Thank you. And Michael, thank you for getting them on the website tomorrow.
Okay.
Have we made any progress on what we're going to be able to approve in Oklahoma as far as minutes?
I sent the minutes that I sent out to everybody that has I think it's the July board meeting, the November board meeting. I have convention minutes in there. And I think we go back to May in Palm Springs a year ago. And Brian is looking at those. I did not send him a copy of our last executive board meeting, so I'll get those sent to him. But the minutes were submitted for our February meeting and our April meeting, and folks decided we had a number of items on the agenda, so that was one of the items that did not get acted on in April. And I will send them back out to everybody. There will be a correction in the February minutes. There's one item missing, specifically where we talked about approving proposal A and B for the rodeo piece. When looking at the minutes for February, I noticed that piece of information was not in the minutes, but I had it in my notes. So I will amend the minutes with that one item.
So so you said dating back to last May, so I'm assuming you mean the rodeo review board meeting minutes too? Is that correct?
Oh, I can send rodeo review. Okay, well, okay, I got a question for you. When at the rodeo, post-rodeo review meetings, the trustees there vote on approving the rodeo. Now, I thought that used to happen at the board meeting, but for the past couple of years, the approval of the rodeo happened literally at the rodeo post-review meeting. So,
That's been going on for as long as I can remember.
okay.
I mean, for at least the last 9 years.
Okay, so when I send y'all the documents from the rodeo, it typically has all of the checklist, the stock contractor review, the surveys. It has the minutes from the post-rodeo review meeting where we have the checklist, the safety, the reviews, and the motion to approve the rodeo. That's normally in that whole set of documents that I send out after every rodeo. But if I need to go back and pull those documents and send them out, I'll be happy to do that.
What I feel would be ideal is if we could get those posted somewhere so that we can just sequentially.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
We could have them ahead of time and sequentially we can look at them instead of trying to dig through attachments. And then when we do the meeting in July, we should be ready to just
Okay.
identify any corrections.
So I'll send out to
and
everyone
move on.
when we have them posted on the website. I'm still learning how to do things on the website, but we should be able to do that. I'm committed to making that happen, Pork Chop.
Thank you.
Well, I got to fess up on this one. The discussion on the minutes and all of this stuff is very confusing to me about, how far back we have to go and what has and has not been approved and so on. I'm wondering, Michael, you feel like you have a handle on it and you can get those minutes sent out and so that we can approve them appropriately?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I'm going to propose that we plan on now. Are we going to have a meeting at the end of June or no meeting at the end of June, Brian?
We'll have an executive board meeting at the end of June on the regularly scheduled end of June meeting, yes.
But not a board of directors meeting.
Not a board of directors meeting, no.
Oh, okay. All right. So then we can approve them at the July board of directors meeting in Oklahoma.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, well, very good. I'm going to leave that in your hands.
Okay.
Another thing I just wanted to discuss a little bit with the executive board. There's a lot of discussion about the 2024 finals and the 2025 finals. And as you know, 2025 is a big year for us. I asked Roger Bergman to look at some planning related things around 2025. And I asked Ron Trusley to look at some planning related things around 2024. Not that they're going to take on the operation of those rodeos in the future, but just start to get some contacts and get some venues and get some hotels and, start to think about it, right? So I've heard a lot of feedback that, we're kind of focusing a little bit on 2025. That's primarily because Roger's been out to Reno. He's looked around a little bit. He thinks he's got a couple of good options for us there in Reno. And I know we haven't actually decided to go to Reno yet. I'm very clear on that. Ron Trusley is looking at venues for 2024. And Sammy, I believe you also have taken on some responsibility for looking for venue for 2024. So the reason, 2025 is a big year for us, so I don't see what I'm trying to say is I don't see a problem on us focusing on 2025 and 2024, even though right now it looks like a lot of the focus is on 2025. It needs a lot more planning probably because it's a bigger deal. And 2024 will fall into place. What are your thoughts and concerns about this?
Brian, I'll just kind of give you an update. So I have been in contact with Westworld, with Austin, and he's getting back on whether the dates, I put out 2 dates, the last weekend of October and the second to the last weekend of October, which is like the last weekend, I think was like the 25th to the 27th or something like that. I've also called and talked to Ron Trusley so that he knew that I was doing that, and I explained to him I already had the connections at Westworld, and I'm not trying to step on your toes or anything like that. So I just didn't want cross communications going on if Ron had decided to give them a call or not. And so that's kind of where we are right now. And I did a follow-up phone call today to Austin again. I didn't get a hold of him in person. I had to leave a voicemail. But that's in process, so at least we can, those dates are available. And if they are, there'll be a proposal at least set for our next meeting.
Okay, so if you can coordinate with that with Ron and maybe Ron, you and I can get together and talk a little bit about it. Were you ever able to get a hold of Lance out in Mesa, visit Mesa for the Queen Creek site?
I did not get a hold of him, and I was kind of leaving that to Ron.
Okay, I'll let Ron know. Okay. What else is on our minds as executive board? Anybody?
Brian, and I told you I would get an Excel sheet to you that was kind of the checkoff sheet that who's assigned all this stuff. I talked to Boogie again this week, so we're on that. Hopefully we'll have it finished on what we need help with. One of the areas we do need help, and I think you're informed of this, I'm not sure everyone else is that when it comes to the buckles and everything, Robin was only taking over the renewals, and she said she will take over the management of it, but she doesn't want to go pursue new buckle sponsors. She sent out numbers, I can't remember, but there was a good response on how many have got back to her that are going to renew. We need that person that's going to go out, or persons maybe, that is willing to go out and hustle, try to sell buckles.
Okay. Well, as soon as if you send, so to the rest of the executive board, Sammy and I had a discussion along with Boogie that the volunteer level for 2023 World Gay Rodeo Finals is a little bit on the thin side. And Sammy was going to put together a list of job duties that are needed for 2023 rodeo, including new buckle sales, as he just explained about related to Robin and her desire to participate. So I'll be asking somebody to take that on as a leadership, in a leadership role. I think what I need to do though, Sammy, is wait till I get the list from you. And also, we're also going to need sort of a list from Robin of who's responded to her so that we're not duplicating, if you know what I mean.
I think you were included on the email that she had sent out, but if not, I'll forward it to you.
Okay.
She kind of put the numbers down on how many and who she had coming in. I know that Frank has got a lot of them up on the website already, what's not available.
So on April 26th, we had our meeting, and I thought there was supposed to be something sent out to get more people involved in the committee and or to volunteer at the event. And there was going to be an email solicitation. and I have not seen anything to date. Is that something that went out, or is it pending, or?
No,
Yeah, it didn't go out by me. I think it's getting back to the Excel sheet that I have to get to Brian this week.
so that, Guy, that call for help is gonna come from me, related to the 2023 rodeo. But I need the information from Sammy as to what the committee needs, he and Boogie and the few people that are helping with the 2023 rodeo. And as soon as I get that list, then I'm gonna send out that email and get it on our Facebook page and try to solicit helpers for 2023 rodeo. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I was just curious because it's been over a month, so I was just following up on it because I thought something was going to be sent out, like right.
Thank you. Well, we have 3 more minutes for the executive board meeting. Sammy, can you make a commitment to get me that list by the weekend, and I'll get it?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I'm in town all week, so it's good for it.
All right, thank you for that.
And as for royalty, I'm working on sponsorship for sashes, buckles, and crown.
Okay, thank you, Mike.
It looks like we're gonna have about 19 contestants this year. From my kind of figuring out who's running. So it looks like we're gonna have probably at least a 10 to 12 man team this year. We'll need 4 buckles and a crown. So I'm working on that.
Very good. Well, before we close the meeting, is there anything else to discuss? There's no action that we need to take at this point. Sort of just a discussion, FYI meeting.
I sent you a text. Did you read it?
A text?
Mm-hmm.
Michael, I can only operate one device at a time. I can't even pay attention to it. Okay. Let me see. Tell you what, I'll call you back after I can process this. I got to
Okay.
take it at the moment, but thank you.
Yeah, because I didn't know if I'd bring that up now or not.
No, I'll call you back right afterwards.
Thank you.
Or we can stay on at the end of the meeting, and
Okay.
I'll read your text and I'll get back to you. We can discuss it. Anything
Okay.
else from the executive board at this point before we close this meeting and transition to the board of directors meeting?
Yeah, everybody, except for one person, they have one more fundraiser and they've met their financial requirements and they'll all be done before middle of June.
Good.
Yeah. Yep. So I got some money to send to David. So.
Very good. Michael, before we go, were you able to take minutes from this meeting and we'll have those
Yes.
minutes? Okay,
Yes.
very good. Thank you. All right, it is almost 8:30, it's 8:29. So I'll go ahead and adjourn the executive board meeting, and we'll give it 60 seconds and we'll convene the special board of directors meeting for today. You're on mute, Judy.
I don't know how to get rid of the little snowman, Frank, sorry. It's really not snowing here, honest.
Frank, she has a twin.
She's been cloned. She's been assimilated into the collective.
All right, I hope we get some more board members to join us. All right. Well,
But they're
we'll-
not board members. They're not all board members, are they? I'm trying to get to that screen. Okay.
so, Michael, could you actually call the roll for the board, the special board meeting, please?
Sure. Brian Helander,
Here,
Michael Butts,
Here.
I'm here, David Hill,
Here.
Candy Pratt, Mark Christensen, Michael Lentz, Jack Morgan,
Here.
Chuck Browning.
Here.
Okay, Wes Gibbons. David told me he couldn't be here tonight. David Hartwell. David Lawson. Scott Corriff. He was on earlier. Are you still with us, Scott? Okay, I guess we lost Scott. Kenneth Hall. Guy Pugliese.
Here.
Tim Montgomery.
Here,
Pardon me?
Tim Montgomery's here.
Okay, great. Chris Tobin.
Here.
Okay, Sammy's here. Tim Smith. And Kevin Hillman. So we have 9 present from the board online.
do we have a quorum, Michael?
Yes.
Thank you. Well, thank you for joining this special meeting today. We only have 2 items on the agenda for today. And the first item of business is to discuss and determine whether or not we would like to have an additional virtual meeting in between our live meetings each year, going forward for as long as we need it, I guess, or until we make a different decision. As you know, we have a lot of business happening. And I think we just need to maybe throw in a couple of more meetings so that we can get things processed and get things moved along and get things, things that need to be fixed and so on. So I would entertain a motion for that if anybody has one.
I motion that we add an additional meeting between each meeting, between our, I make a motion to add a virtual meeting in between our in-person meetings.
All right, Michael, can you adjust that to add 2 additional meetings per year to our 4 in-person meetings?
Yes,
That's what we're
add
looking
2
for.
additional meetings, virtual meetings
Virtual
to our
meetings.
in-person meetings.
Thank you very much.
Second.
Michael seconds that. All right, discussion on this issue.
For these virtual meetings, I think we would include the committee chairs as well, correct? So that they could provide reports and update the board on the progress of their various areas.
Well, I think it's a board meeting, Michael, so I think the committee chairs would be welcome to attend. What does the rest of the board feel at this point?
The committees are normally are supposed to provide reports for the board of directors meetings when we have them.
Yes, and I understand that.
But they,
Okay.
Michael, they provide a report, not necessarily speak to that report unless asked for additional information.
Right, only if they had action items that the board needed to act on or whatever.
Yeah, so I think, Michael, the virtual meetings would be run exactly the same as the in-person meetings with the report updates, et cetera. And if there is a need for a committee chair to be recognized, they could be recognized to provide additional information or answer questions. So I guess.
Well, what I'm
Okay.
getting at is, once again, this year is no different than the others. I seldom get any committee report. I can count on one hand how many committee reports I typically get for a board meeting.
Sure.
And we have 30-something committees that are acting and going out and working for IGRA, and we have no update or information from 90% of what the committees are doing, or if they're doing anything at all.
Yeah. I'm going to share a document in a moment. Guy, go ahead.
I have concerns about that because I think it's enough for the committees to report quarterly like they normally do, because if we're going to be having these virtual meetings in the evening, I don't think we're going to have, I mean, I would hope we're not going to take these meetings into midnight, right? So
No, I agree with you.
It should be as an as-needed basis that a committee could bring business to the regularly scheduled meetings. But it wouldn't be a solicitation for everybody to turn in reports, because I don't think we'll have time to deal with that administratively.
Well, we don't have reports turned in to begin with, so we won't be missing anything.
Can I share a document with you? Can you all see the screen?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things I would like to do, one of the things I have done, is assign a board of director, an IGRA board member liaison to each of the committees. That's column G. So each of the committees has a board member liaison who I've assigned these somewhat randomly, actually, but what I would like to see is the assigned board member work with the committee chair, help them with the reports, help them with the written reports, do some communication with them, bring any issues to the board or executive board that feel need to be brought to the board, and not necessarily just leave the committee chairs sort of hanging out there without somebody specific to reach out to if they need it. So I've sent this out a couple times, and you can see that your names are on here somewhere along the way. I think I've included most of the board members, and if it's not an area of interest, please give me a call and we can change it up or whatever. But back to the conducting of the. Stop sharing this now. I'll send this out again. Back to the conducting of the special board meetings. Guy, I will take. I certainly understand we don't want to have, a 4-hour virtual meeting. Nobody wants that. But I think if there's a written report that wants to come in and there's something special that we need to handle, if they have an action item, I think it's something we probably could address if it's appropriate. I don't think I have any interest to let that get out of control. Is that helpful or no?
Yes.
Yeah. So in other words, I think for our virtual meetings, I will inquire if any committee has anything that they feel needs to be shared with the board right away. But I won't expect every committee to submit a report for these virtual meetings. That's not what we're looking for.
I would say action items.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Fair. Yeah, I'm with you.
If there's an action item, absolutely.
And our plan for these virtual meetings is to do like we did this meeting, have the exec board and then the regular meeting together. In other words, following each other, or is that going to be a whole separate meeting on a different day?
No, if we do it on the 27th, if we do it, for those that just joined, the executive board did pick a date for this year's next virtual meeting, if you will, which would be September 27th at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And I believe that would follow the executive board last Wednesday of the month. Can someone check on that calendar for me?
I just did. You're correct.
Yeah.
So can we just say that the executive board is gonna be at 6:30?
Yep. Executive board is at 6:30 PM Central Time to follow the board meeting at 7 PM Central Time. And then again, at convention, we will set our 4 in-person meetings and our 2 virtual meetings in a regular calendar, just like we'd normally do. So we'll know well in advance when the virtual meetings are going to be. Any further discussion on this? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any nays? Okay, well, motion carries. We'll add 2 virtual meetings to our annual meeting slate, and we'll fit them in appropriately at convention. The next one will be September 27th at 7 PM with a board meeting, executive board meeting prior to that at 6:30 PM. Thank you all for that. I think it'll help us move some business along and get some resolutions on some stuff. Then the other item of business that we did post for this particular meeting on the agenda for this special meeting was just to update you briefly on some of the actions that the executive board took prior to this meeting. One of the major ones was setting the convention fee at 100 and, help me, somebody.
35.
35.
$135. So that is out there. What else did we do?
The executive board also handled the process for nominations for the annual awards and the voting process. Essentially, we said we'd do it like we've done in the past, and we've communicated to everyone that the nominations by bylaws have to be in by the third quarter meeting. Since then, we had further discussions and we expanded the nomination process for the Wayne Giacchino Award. We sent out the nomination form that has to be filled out to all of the board of directors members so we can receive nominations from a wider audience than just the executive board. The executive board will still select the recipient in a closed executive board meeting at the third quarter meeting, and that recipient is announced Friday at final.
Okay. Very good.
Did everyone get the nomination form that I sent out to the rest of the board?
Yes, I did.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Michael, are you getting nominations in?
I've received 2,
Okay, very good.
but it's still very early.
Sure. Well, listen, that's all the business we have for this special meeting. I really appreciate you all joining. Our next meeting will be a regularly scheduled meeting, and I don't believe we'll have to have any more special meetings at this point unless there's something unforeseen. So thank you all for,
There was one more thing.
yeah.
Brian, could I make just a real quick statement?
Yeah, let me just, before you do, Guy, what did I miss?
There was the one other thing that we talked about was the $10 minimum donation for that patch.
Oh, yes, thank you for reminding me. So we had a lot of discussion about the patch that was created as a commemorative item for your shirt or your jacket or your roping bag or your sash or whatever you wanted. And the executive board did determine that we would price it as a donation to receive a commemorative patch for the Road to 50 Years of Gay Rodeo. But that doesn't mean that we can't ask for more than $10. But any donation to IGRA for that effort above $10 will get you a commemorative patch. There's only 250 patches made, so they're going to go, I hope they go fast, and I hope it's a fun thing for us to do. Thank you, Guy, for reminding me. I appreciate it.
Where are those available?
Jack, they're going to be available at registration, starting in Salt Lake City.
Thank you.
Okay, Judy, go ahead. You had something to say?
Yeah, I just wanted to make a really quick statement. As you know, CRR in 2023 was canceled. I wanted to thank our executive members at CRGRA for their efforts to carry on with the rodeo. However, we encountered additional challenges securing sponsors, while at the same time seeing major expenses increase by at least 25% in some cases, and that included our stock contractor, our venue, our awards, our officials' flights from US to Canada, and our low attendance of US competitor commitments. And you know, you build a budget, you think you've got it all laid out and everything's hunky-dory, and then you get some things dropped on you partway through. And part of it was our contract with the Stampede, which is unfortunate, but things happen, right? So I think that one of the things, I don't know if you guys are encountering this within your rodeo associations, but our major sponsors have redirected their financial support to one single organization. In our case, it's Pride Calgary. And they believe that represents and supports the entire LGBTQ plus community. And it's difficult for us to explain to them and educate them that there are other gay nonprofit organizations that need funding individually, and that the money does not trickle down from Pride Calgary, for example, to other organizations. So we're in a little bit of a conundrum, and we're a little bit of an education process to try and explain to our sponsors how things work. We have a responsibility to our dedicated membership to uphold the solvency and profitability of our organization. So we'll continue to support Country Western Lifestyle as well as our chosen charities. We want to thank our sponsors and membership who support CRGRA and our rodeo. And we will be partnering them with community events throughout the LGBTQ plus community. And we want to thank IGRA for your support. And especially I want to thank our officials. Because let me tell you, I went through the entire list of officials, and I juggled it, I moved people around, and I put them in different positions, and it was very difficult. And I appreciate our IGRA executive and officials, and the officials that are volunteers who are willing to step into some places that were kind of foreign territory for some of them. And so I just want to thank them. Thank you.
Hey, Judy, I have a question. Do you think that your pride might let you be involved in the sense of maybe part of their pride having rodeo?
You know, Michael, we tried that last year, and we actually had our rodeo scheduled for Pride weekend because we thought we could work with them. Unfortunately, Pride board is a brand new board. They're all very young. They have not much experience, and so it's pretty difficult. And in Canada, Pride gets a lot of money through government grants, so they don't have to fundraise, and so all of their events are free. So, you know, it's a little bit different, and again, it's an education process, and we have to educate them a little bit about how things work as well.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
Well, Judy, sorry to hear about it. Thanks for informing us on that. We appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and close the meeting at this point. You're welcome to stay on, Judy, and others to talk. And Mipsy and Michael, Norman, if you'd stay on too, that'd be great. But unless there's, we just had the two items of business. I believe we've handled those 2 items of business. And I'm going to adjourn the special board meeting. So the meeting is adjourned. Thank you all. Judy, I can't speak for Chuck Browning. Sometimes I can, but we have our flights and we have a hotel room, and I think I'm coming to Calgary